Not sure what teaching duties you'll be assigned along with your new teaching job? Well, grab a pen and paper because today I'm giving you the lowdown on teaching duties you need to know about. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel where I share weekly insights, support, strategies, and candid advice about teaching social studies. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Cecilia Tamet, and I'm an experienced educator and consultant. And I provide resources, support, and solutions for passionate history teachers like you. So the first duty you can expect to go along with your new teaching job is morning, after school duty, and school-sponsored activities monitoring. So typically, morning and afternoon duty happens about 30 minutes or so before and after school, depending on your school. And not every school requires their teacher to be on duty. There are some instances, for example, there are some high schools that their teachers don't have to do this duty. They have security guards or they have paraprofessionals perform this task so that teachers can focus on prepping for the school day. Now, it's important to note that typically you will not be assigned a monitoring duty during your lunch period because they are required by law to give you a lunch time. So if you're seeing this happen on the regular, you might want to call your union or join a teacher union or a teacher organization so that they can advocate for you, because you do need to have a designated lunchtime free of monitoring duties. Now, when it comes to monitoring school events, the type of events that you would be required to monitor as part of your teaching contract would be events that happen during the school day. Let's say, for example, there's a pep rally or an assembly, or there's a guest speaker, or maybe it's field day or something to that extent. If it's during school hours, they will assign teachers to be on duty, monitoring, etc. However, do note that if it is after school hours, or if it is a school event that happens on a weekend or anything like that, that should be financially compensated. So sometimes I know that as new teachers, it's very easy to fall into the trap of feeling obligated to agree to do every single thing. And it's awesome. It's an awesome way to interact with your students and get to know them and build rapport because they're going to see you everywhere. But you want to keep in mind what is required and what is on a volunteer basis. And there, from there, you can assess which additional volunteer duties you're willing to accommodate in your schedule. Now, a tip about monitoring that I want to emphasize is the following. When you're on duty, so let's say I'm on morning duty, okay? You want to make sure that you are not on your phone, that you're not having conversations with other teachers, essentially that you are intentionally focused on the following: pacing, observing, eavesdropping, and being positioned, physically positioned in an alert stance, okay, where you have visibility of everything around you. And the reason why I emphasize these particular details is because if you're on duty, the way things work is there is a certain liability that falls on the teacher if anything happens while you're on duty. Now, you want to minimize that liability by being focused on what you're actually doing. And this is regardless of what your other colleagues are doing. Essentially, you don't want to make it easy for anyone to blame you of any kind of negligence. But out of fairness to our colleagues, it's important that we all equitably show up for something that we're responsible for. The second duty that you're going to be responsible for is taking attendance. Now, as most of you know, attendance is tied to federal funding. If you have no students coming to school, and you can't prove that you have students coming to school, then your school is less likely to get funding. So in that sense, taking attendance is essential. Was I very good at it all the time? No. So I'm going to give you some pointers so that you make sure you make this a habit, particularly if you are barely going into education. So I highly recommend you set an alarm on your phone or on your desktop. I also recommend that you possibly assign a student to be like your attendance person reminder. Now, what'll really help you stay on board with the attendance, having a seating chart, especially if you are new to teaching or, we're barely getting to know our students. It's ideal to have a seating chart because this allows you to take attendance quickly. Plus, it helps you learn your students' names because you know exactly where their warm bodies should be. The third teaching duty that I wanted to share with you, teacher meeting. So more often than not, these meetings happen on a weekly basis. Faculty meetings oftentimes happen on a monthly basis, depending on what time of year it is. The closer you get to any testing time, the more faculty meetings you might be prone to have at your campus. You also have meetings for special trainings, maybe standardized testing trainings, how to monitor. They also have parent meetings, which typically happen during your conference period or after school, and IEP meetings, so instructional education plan meetings for your special education students. Now, while some campuses actually share a campus calendar with their teachers, if this is not given to you at your campus, I highly advise you get yourself some sort of planner and set these alerts on your phone, maybe at the start of the week, so you check what's coming up that week and you set those alerts on your phone so you're not late or don't forget one of your meetings. And also, it's very imperative that you make sure you know the location of these meetings, because I've made mistakes in the past where I assumed a meeting was happening on campus when in reality it was happening at central office. The fourth teaching duty that I wanted to share with you is UIL sponsor, coach, or event organizer. Here's the deal with this. If you said during your interview that you would be willing to be a UIL coach or a sponsor or anything additional, mark my words when I say typically you will be asked to fulfill this duty. Now, if you haven't been hired yet and being a UIL sponsor or anything like that is just not your jam, and you want to learn a tactful way that you can refuse this duty without burning any bridges, I'll go ahead and link a video recommendation below called Teacher Interview Simulation. And I do share ways that you can tactfully turn down this responsibility without losing rapport with your hiring committee. While it may seem overwhelming and daunting at first, I want to know which one of these duties do you feel pretty confident about so far? Drop it in the comments below and let me know. Okay, y'all, so this may be a little bizarre because I didn't mention it in my video, but you know what else is a daunting duty? Learning how to teach. Grasping the concept of organizing yourself for the upcoming school year, creating and aligning lessons, engaging your students. This is probably one of the most challenging teaching duties and time-consuming duties you'll have as a new teacher. And unfortunately, there's a limited amount of time that you have to figure this out through trial and error, because let's be honest, they don't really teach us this in our teaching program. But don't worry, I got your back. As your virtual mentor, I don't want you to go through that uncertainty and that stress, because you'll burn yourself out like I once did. If this is something that you have ruminating in the back of your mind, click Teach Like an Influencer Academy at the link below to enroll in my mentorship program, where I guide you from planning to successful lesson delivery to learning how to adjust and align your instruction and more. Now, the fifth teaching duty that I wanted to share with you are campus committees. Now, typically every school has a series of committees. For example, the safety committee, the curriculum committee, the discipline committee. So the way it works is typically when you're having your in-services for the start of the school year, they'll let you know which committee you are assigned, because every teacher will be assigned to participate in a committee. And this usually entails attending occasional additional meetings where you plan and discuss ideas for improving this element of the school. The sixth additional duty that you may have as an educator is department chair or campus representative for school board or district meetings. Now, because there is a slight possibility that these roles may be assigned to you pretty early on in your career, I actually became department chair my third year teaching. Imagine that. I wanted you to be aware of what these extra duties entail. You will be assigned additional meetings to attend on occasion, mostly on a monthly basis or something to that extent. And oftentimes, if you are assigned to be the department chair for your team, you may qualify for an additional stipend. So this is something that you want to inquire with your human resources department upon your assignment to this new duty. The seventh teacher duty that I wanted to share with you, and one of my personal favorites, is being a student mentor. Now, this particular duty is fantastic at building an additional or reinforcing and strengthening the rapport and the relationship we have with our students, particularly students that you know may be hard to reach. This allows you to really focus on the students and providing the social emotional support that they need in order to thrive in a school setting. So mentorships are often quite successful because it's a great way to motivate students, specifically if you actually take the time to connect with your mentee. So my advice to you is definitely get to know your mentee's schedule so that you can pop in to drop off a little gift or anything like that. So some ideas to connect and check in with your mentee might be during grade reporting period. So when their grades are due, a great idea is to, and this is why I mentioned it's great if this is your own student because you have access to checking their grades. If not, you can always message the counselor or check the student's schedule so that you know which teachers to talk to or send a quick email to see if your mentee is doing good in their class, if there's a way that you can provide any type of additional support. And I personally find it so rewarding. If you're a brand new teacher who has just accepted their first teaching offer, make sure to head over to my channel and check out Be a Successful First Year Teacher, where I share 5 things to know and prepare to have a successful first year teaching. Or consider joining my free Facebook group, the History Teachers Lounge, where I'll be sharing info and insight to help you prepare for a successful first year teaching, as well as create camaraderie with other brand new educators. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, class dismissed.